The Mandalorian and Grogu is a fun film for sure. Now, is it perfect? That is the question. And that is a hard question to answer. I know it's not perfect. I don't think anything is perfect in life, but there are a lot of good things. There's some mid things, and there's so maybe some low things. And it depends on your perspective. It depends on what you're expecting from these characters, from this show. And yeah, it's something a bit complicated. There are parts that they are great from the start, particularly like the action scenes. It starts with a big one that, to be honest with you, to me felt like it should have been probably the end of the film. This is a big action. But then throughout the film, there's a lot of action moments. There's never a dull moment, to be honest with you, because it goes and it's entertaining, it's fun. Of course, it's a lot of it's the scenes with Grogu, which he's so lovable. You love him in every scene. There's a lot of, in a way, Easter eggs and also throwbacks to some films from the 80s and 90s. So it's just nostalgia. It plays so well with nostalgia. And honestly, when you look at all the stuff that Disney has done so far, in my opinion, The Mandalorian has been perhaps the best production they have done so far. And yeah, you can think about Rogue One, which I love as a film. You can think of the Andor series, which is a continuation, of course, of Rogue One, and so on. There's been so many great things. Of course, the Bad Batch, the resurrection of the Clone Wars, all the things that we have seen. But from a lot of the things that they have done has been disappointing, to be honest with you. The Mandalorian is at the top. And it's, of course, it's expected that they will put as much money as they can, pour money into it, and try to keep this franchise alive as far as they can. And in a way, that really also hurts the film, and this particular film, because it feels that the pace is slow, and not in the action part, but in the development of the characters. And yes, there's some character development, but it's not as pronounced or as fast as you would hope for. Of course, when we go back to the beginning, the first series, the first season of the show was 7 years ago. It's been a while. And we have seen, 3 seasons so far? Only 3 seasons in this period of time. Of course, you have to think about COVID. We have to think about all the changes that happened with Disney, the restructuring of this and that. Of course, Star Wars has been affected by it. But it feels that in a way, when I'm watching this film, I feel that this was technically a part of the series that they wanted to do, but because of the length of time, because of the cost of production, because of the delays and all of that, they decided to cram it into a movie, because even the film feels like there's 2 parts here. There is the first part and then the second part all combined. Watching the film, I feel like this is just a compressed TV season. It's all it is, a compressed season. And whether I like it or not, I enjoy the film. But there are moments where it doesn't feel like a film. And when you go back, of course, back in the 80s, and when there were a lot of TV shows that were turned into movies for at some point, or there was a film following, you always can see the difference. Of course, the production quality was way different. You can see that some of those movies were animated movies or so on, like G.I. Joe, for example, and then you got the G.I. Joe film or the Transformers and the Transformers film. You can see the quality, the production is more. But here, it feels like a continuation of the same thing. Of course, you got to think that, again, Disney has poured so much money into the show that the difference is so minuscule, you barely can see it. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But again, it just feels like just an extension rather than a different thing that stands on its own merits. And that can be very disappointing for a lot of people. I know also another thing that some people are pointing out, and I have the time to watch a few reviews here and there. I try not to pay much attention to what people are saying, because it's my experience what I want to share here, not the experience of others. But I've seen a lot of people have mentioned that they felt that they was not mature enough. And I would say I get it, because, the action, it's mild in a way. There's action, but you don't see blood or killings and all of that. And in a way, I understand why Disney does it, because this character, Grogu in particular, the Mandalorian, has grown so much that extends beyond just adults. I think that the beginning of the show, it was more greedy. The first season, when you go back, it feels a bit greedier, the first 2 seasons. But then he became the more lighthearted with third season, and that's mostly a reaction to the response of the fans, because a lot of people love Baby Yoda. They love Grogu. A lot of people love it. A lot of children, a lot of families. So I get it why they're trying to bring as many people as possible to fill those seats, particularly with families with kids. But in a way, also, that I would say hampers some of that. It kind of stops the growth of the character in a more mature way, or to the character to do things that are way beyond just childlike things, because he's and that's the beauty of Grogu. You love him because he's a child. He's technically watching Gizmo again. I watch Gizmo for modern times, and I love that part because I love Gizmo. I love the Gremlins. But in a way, is it that the direction that we need to do with Grogu? And you can see it too, because even in the film, there's a part where there's a reminder that it's given to the audience in a way through through this character speaking to Mando about the lifespan of Grogu. He's going to live a long time. That is part of who he is. And that in a way, it felt a little bit shoehorned to me, like a reminder to the audience that Grogu will continue on regardless of what happened with Pedro Pascal. Because I feel like you can see now Pedro Pascal is there in age. He's been doing this for 7.5 years. How long he's going to do it? Is he going to continue doing it? Is he willing to continue doing it? That is just a matter of time. But I can already see that Disney treats Grogu as, and even in the name, instead of being called the Mandalorian film, this is called Mandalorian and Grogu. So they're trying also to build Grogu in a different direction in its own way. And I wouldn't be surprised that we're going to be watching stuff with Grogu without Mando at some point in time. It is clear as water that that's what they're trying to do. And is it a good thing? Perhaps. Because we love Grogu. I think we cannot get enough of the little guy. But at the same time, it's already changing the course and direction of things, because it's important to always have a beginning and an end for things to thrive, to survive, and to be remembered the best way possible. Look back at the original trilogy. It was only 3 movies. That's it. But those 3 movies are so engraved in our mind that there was no need even to bring the characters anymore after that. Yes, on the new trilogy, we have those cameos and all, and they came back, not in the best way possible. But the 3 first films held the entire franchise for many, many years, and they still do. Because when people think about Star Wars, the best things of Star Wars, they're always going to go back to the original trilogy. That's just the way it is. So yeah, they're great moments. They're fantastic moments. Production-wise, is entertaining. Yes, there's some dull moments. There's teaching lessons, of course, a big one too. And so it's not bad if you have your kids and family, for them also to go on that moral lesson that is important. It's all in there. And it was fun. Was it a push forward? Just a tiny little step. That's all it felt to me. A tiny step rather than a big leap into something different. And even the film doesn't end as a film. It ends more like another season. Are they going to bring another film? Are they going to continue the seasons? That is something that it's hard to tell. I would be more inclined to believe that the point here is trying to separate Grogu from Mando to create something new, something different in a new direction. So in a way, you cannot blame them for trying to plan ahead. At the same time, it feels a little bit self-serving, and not for the audience, but for the production company, for the studio, for Disney overall, for what they want to do, going to keep just taking away from this character, keep building and doing things and, making money out of it, which, it is a business after all. And that's what the point of it, they have to make money. If the character doesn't sell, then there's no point of having it. But, in a way also, it sacrificed some of that vision, original vision that perhaps they had. And I would say Filoni has done a fantastic job. Now he is, of course, the president. He is in charge of all of this, and he has cameos on the film, by the way, and he is fantastic. Of course, having Sigourney Weaver, that was another great thing. For those who are fans of anything sci-fi, she is technically one of the pillars of it in modern times. So yeah, it's great to have her there. So there was a lot of good things in this film that I personally enjoy. There were great moments, of course, but is it perfect? Definitely it's not. Now, if I have to give the film a score. In my book, and I'm going to be a bit generous here, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Some people would say 7, and 7 is not a bad score, to be honest. It's good. 8 because it still is Grogu here. It still feels like the Mandalorian. It doesn't change anything. It's definitely better than the season 3. So it feels more like a going back to what season 1 and season 2 was, and that's great, but it maintains the status quo. It doesn't go further than that. And that's fine with me. At the end of the day, I enjoy it. It's fun. And it's a film that, yeah, you're willing to pay the price and go and watch it in the movie theater. You're going to enjoy it. But it's a film that you will enjoy regardless. If you wait, you're still not missing much, to be honest. You're still going to enjoy it if you wait in a few months, 1 or 2 or so, because everything comes so fast on Disney Plus, and you'll enjoy it there as well. So it's your pick, it's your take. How you want to spend your time is up to you. But it's a film that you can enjoy either way, or, you're still going to enjoy it. You guys still going to get the same product. But what is your opinion, my friends? What do you think about my score? You think I'm on the money, or you think I'm wrong about it? You think there's anything that I miss here that it's important to mention? You can put it down on the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and share your opinion. I would like to have a discussion with you. So my friends, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button so you're reminded of every video. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description: Facebook, X, Instagram. All the links are there. And also consider supporting the channel financially. You can do that through a Patreon, or you can do that through the Super Chat. Whatever options you do, thank you for your support. My friends, God bless you. Take care. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.